Today How's it going, everyone? Rich here in the studio, and today I am going to show you how I turn a canvas into something that looks like a concrete wall using only paint. Okay, here is what we are going to need to be able to paint our concrete effect on canvas. First up, a canvas. I've done two. I've done a pale grey and a darker grey emulsion base on these, so they're prepped and ready to go. We're going to do a slightly darker wash on the pale grey and a slightly lighter wash on this, so we can see how they look and you can decide which one you want to replicate if you are going to do this at home on your own. What we're going to use is acrylic paint, so I've got some whites, some greys and some blacks that we're going to mix up and wash on to create all of that lovely concrete texture. But if you've seen concrete walls, you've seen that there's little bits of warmth from rust and dirt. So we've got some burnt sienna and some burnt umber. Those should add some really nice warmth, dirt, rusty effects in amongst the monochromatic colors. We've got some brushes and some sponges to mix it all around. We're not going to be too precious with this paint job because we want it to look like an organic wall outside. The ingredient that is going to make this work perfectly is water. And I've got a squirty gun, so we can splash this around, spray the paint, let it drip, create that organic effect, and this is going to act like rain on a concrete wall outside. But because we're using water and because we're going to create lots of paint washes today, I need to protect the floor, so will you. I don't want to ruin my lovely wooden floors in the studio, so I'm going to go and get a tray to sit these canvases in and set up to start painting. If you watched my hydro dipping video, you'll remember this tray from that. I filled it with water, dipped the canvas in, so I know that it's watertight and it should be perfect for this. There's going to be lots of splashing and lots of drips, so we don't want that to go all over the floor, so this should work to collect all of that water. I've got a big test canvas at the back, which is bigger than this. That should protect the walls if there's going to be any splashes. But now I should be set up to start testing out some paint on here and make this look like a concrete wall. Leonardo da Vinci once said that every artist should start with a black wash on their canvas because everything in nature is dark except where exposed by light. So I'm going to take that approach and start with some dark washes on this canvas to create some background shadows, and then start building it up later with some lighter tones and those browns to create some warmth. So I'm going to start with some black and some water and start splashing this on and see how it looks. Okay, all I've done so far is paint for less than 5 minutes using some black acrylic paint, some water and a brush, splashing it on, letting it be organic, making the whole canvas wet so it will drip down in different ways. But it's already looking really cool. It already looks like concrete, so I'm happy with it so far. I did do the edges and the top as well. We don't want to forget about those because it will ruin the illusion if it's a flat white side. The canvas wraps around, people will see it, so don't forget those bits. But already, after just a couple of minutes, with a little bit of black paint and some water, it looks really cool. What I'm going to do now is start to test out some other hues of greys, those umbers, those browns, try and get some rusts dripping through it, squirt the water bottle on there to see if I can mist it on and make it a little bit more like rain, and start to build this up with even more texture. So I'm going to crack on with that, but it's already looking really good. So I have found that the burnt sienna is the perfect rust color, and all I'm doing is dabbing a tiny little bit of this paint along the edge of the top of the canvas, imagining that this is where maybe there's a pipe running and it's rusting down. I'm just dabbing a little bit of paint on it like this. It's mixed with the black. It really doesn't matter. I'm not being too precious. It looks a bit dark like that, but it's the second that you use a water bottle with some water in, as you squirt it on, it dilutes it, it starts to drip down and mix with the black. And you've just got that warm, umbery brown, rusty color mixing in with all the grays, and it looks beautiful. This is really, really easy to do. I'm not being precious at all, and it's already looking like a concrete wall. So very happy. And if I can do this in just a couple of minutes, you can as well. Now, I could probably rework this and overthink it and do loads more layers and add loads more texture and depth, but by doing a background color of pale gray on the canvas already, and then using only water, a squirt gun, some black acrylic, some burnt umber, some burnt sienna, and a brush, I have made this plain canvas look like a weathered concrete wall, and it only took me 10 minutes to do this. Really, really happy with it. It's going to look beautiful when it's dry, and I put a stencil over the top of this. It will fit the piece perfectly and look like it's in that urban concrete jungle environment that I'm going for. So under 10 minutes, I have a concrete canvas. That's the light one. I'm going to leave this to dry, and I'm going to do the dark canvas and see how that's going to look with some lighter washes. So let's keep going. But if you like this one, let me know in the comments, subscribe to the channel, give this a like, and keep watching for the dark canvas. I've already done the pale canvas with a darker wash, and it looks really nice. This time I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to use a darker canvas with a lighter gray. So I'm going to get this onto my palette, mix it up with some water, start putting it on here, and see how a lighter wash on a darker canvas is going to look as a different kind of concrete texture. So I'm going to start painting this. Let's see how it's going to look. I'm going to start this exactly the same way that I started the other one, by getting a brush and some water and some pale paint, and to start splashing on here and start letting it drip and build it up. So let's see how this is going to look. So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to add in some of the raw umber kind of colors at the top here to make it look like it's rusty. We want to imagine there's some kind of pipe or something is dripping, adding this kind of warmth, these natural colors, so it's not all monochromatic. And then it will start to mix in with all the grays. It goes on quite splodgy at first. You don't have to be precious about it. Just splash it all on like that. And then get your water gun, start squirting it in, and it'll start bleeding in to all of these other colors that are dripping down, breaking it up and making it much more organic. Once this all starts to dry, all of these colors, the streakiness at the moment, will start to fade in together and create a really smooth, darker gray version of the other concrete wall that we did. But this is all, again, a couple of colors of acrylic, some water, a brush, and just not being precious about it, just splashing it on, letting it drip, and that's how a concrete wall ends up weathered anyway. It's rain, it's dirt, it's rust. That's what we're going for, and this is how it's starting to look. So that is both canvases now done and drying. This was the darker canvas with the paler wash, the pale canvas with the darker wash. But whichever one you prefer, they both look like concrete walls, and that's what I was going for. I'm going to use these as backgrounds for future paintings. I've got stencils to go on top of these, and that will make sense in another video. But if you want to use this technique, not just for a canvas, but for an entire room, if you want to give your space that industrial feel, all you have to do was this exact same technique on a bigger scale. Emulsion the walls with a grey, whichever one you prefer. Once that's dry, put on the greys, the blacks, the whites, the burnt umbers. Use rollers, sponges, brushes, water, squirt guns, whatever technique you have, you can make your wall look like an industrial vibe concrete using only paint. Super easy to do. They took less than 10 minutes. I'm going to leave these to dry overnight and show you the finished things in just a second. But please give this video a like. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer. If you're going to use this technique for your own project, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. Enjoy the finished versions.